My morning routine that changed my life. Do you remember the last time you woke up and actually felt good? Not just okay, not just fine, but genuinely deeply good. Like the day ahead of you was something to look forward to, not something to survive. I didn't feel that for a long time, and I mean a long time. For years, and I'm not exaggerating when I say years, my mornings look like this. Alarm goes off at 7:15, I hit snooze, it goes off again at 7:24, I hit snooze again. By 7:45, I'm in a full panic, scrambling to find clothes, skipping breakfast, spilling coffee on myself, rushing out the door, already stressed, already behind, already defeated. And the day hadn't even really started yet. I used to think that was just life. I thought everyone felt this way. I thought mornings were supposed to feel like a battle you lose before you even get out of bed. But I was wrong, and it took hitting a really low point before I finally understood that. It was a Tuesday. I remember that clearly because Tuesdays always felt the most hopeless to me. Not the fresh start of Monday, not the halfway point of Wednesday, just Tuesday, sitting in the middle of the week like an uninvited guest. I had woken up late again. I was already 20 minutes behind schedule. My phone was blowing up with messages I didn't want to read. My chest felt tight, that familiar anxiety that had become my constant companion. And I sat down on the edge of my bed and I just stopped. I didn't move. I didn't reach for my phone. I just sat there in the quiet and I thought to myself, is this really how I'm going to live? Is every single morning going to feel like this? And something in that moment shifted. Not dramatically. There was no lightning bolt, no sudden revelation. It was more like a decision, a small, quiet decision. I thought, tomorrow morning, I'm going to try something different. That's all it was, just one small decision. I'd read about morning routines before. I'd seen the videos. I'd heard the advice. Wake up at 5 a.m., cold showers, journal for 30 minutes, meditate for an hour. And every time I heard that, I rolled my eyes because it felt impossible. It felt like advice for a different kind of person, someone who had more time, more energy, more discipline than me. But that night, I didn't try to build a perfect morning routine. I didn't set 5 alarms or make an elaborate plan. I just decided on 3 tiny things. Just 3. First, I would not touch my phone for the first 15 minutes after waking. Second, I would drink a full glass of water before anything else. And third, I would step outside, even just onto my balcony or just outside my front door, and spend 2 minutes in the fresh air before the chaos of the day began. That's it. No 5 a.m. wake up, no cold shower, no hour-long meditation, just 3 tiny, almost embarrassingly small things. The first morning was hard. My hand reached for my phone out of habit before my eyes were even opened fully. I had to physically put the phone on the other side of the room the night before just to make it harder to grab automatically. I drank the water. It felt strange. My body wasn't used to it. I stepped outside. It was early. The world was quiet in a way it never is later in the day. There were birds. There was soft light. The air was cool. And I stood there for 2 minutes. Just 2 minutes. And here's what I noticed. For those 2 minutes, I wasn't thinking about my inbox. I wasn't thinking about my to-do list. I wasn't thinking about all the things I had to do and all the ways I might fail at them. I was just there, standing in the quiet, breathing. It sounds so simple. It sounds almost too simple to matter. But something about those 2 minutes, that tiny pocket of stillness before the noise of the day began, felt different. It felt like I was choosing my morning instead of my morning choosing me. I kept going, day after day. Some mornings were easier than others. Some mornings I didn't want to get up. Some mornings the weather was bad and stepping outside felt like the last thing I wanted to do.
But I kept the bar low on purpose because I had learned something important about myself. I didn't fail at habits because I was lazy. I failed at habits because I set the bar too high, too fast. 3 small things every single morning. That was the only rule. And slowly, so slowly that I almost didn't notice it happening, things started to shift. I started waking up a few minutes before my alarm. Not every day, but some days. And when that happened, I noticed that I didn't feel the same dread I used to feel. The mornings felt a little lighter. I started adding small things, a few minutes of stretching, a little bit of journaling, not deep, structured journaling, just a few lines about how I was feeling or what I was looking forward to. Sometimes just one sentence. Today I want to be patient. That's it. The water became something I craved instead of something I forced. The phone-free time became something I protected instead of something I struggled with, because I realized the world doesn't end if I don't check my messages for 15 minutes. Nothing falls apart. But my peace of mind, that does start to build. Here's the thing nobody tells you about morning routines. It's not about the routine itself. It's not about what time you wake up or how many pages you journal or whether you meditate or exercise or drink green tea or do yoga. It's about what the routine says to your brain. Every morning when you choose, even in a small way, to do something intentional, something for you, before the world starts demanding things from you, you are sending your brain a message. And that message is, I matter. My peace matters. My morning matters. That's the real shift. Because when you spend years starting every morning in reactive mode, alarm, phone, stress, rush, panic, your brain learns that mornings are dangerous, that the world is coming for you, that you are already behind. But when you start your morning with even 2 minutes of intention, your brain learns something different. It learns that you are in control, that you chose this, that you are not just a passenger in your own life, dragged along by whatever comes first. You are the driving. And that feeling, that small, quiet feeling of being in control of at least this part of your day, it bleeds into everything else. The way you handle stress, the way you respond to difficult situations, the way you treat yourself when things go wrong. It all starts in those first few minutes of the morning. I want to be honest with you about something. I still have bad mornings. I still have days when the routine falls apart. Days when I sleep through the alarm, days when I grab my phone immediately and then spend 10 minutes doom scrolling and feel terrible about it. Life is not a perfect streak. But the difference now is one bad morning doesn't ruin me the way it used to. Before, one missed morning would spiral. I'd tell myself, see, you can't do it. You never stick to anything. And I'd give up for a week, sometimes longer. Now, I just try again the next morning, because I've learned that the goal isn't perfection. The goal is return. You come back, you try again, you show up for yourself the next morning, even imperfectly. That's the whole game. If you're listening to this and your mornings feel like mine used to feel, chaotic, rushed, heavy with dread, I want you to hear this. You don't need to overhaul your life. You don't need to become a morning person overnight. You don't need a perfect routine, a beautiful journal, an expensive setup, or a 5 a.m. alarm. You just need one thing, one tiny thing you can do tomorrow morning that is for you, just for you, before the emails, before the messages, before the demands of the day. Maybe it's 5 minutes of quiet with a cup of tea. Maybe it's stepping outside for 2 minutes of fresh air. Maybe it's just sitting up in bed and taking 3 slow, deep breaths before you reach for your phone. Something small, something gentle, something yours. And then do it again the next morning, and the morning after that. Because here's what I know now, after doing this for longer than I ever thought I could. Your morning doesn't just set the tone for your day. Your morning, over time, sets the tone for your life. I'm not the same person I was on that Tuesday morning, sitting on the edge of my bed, feeling like every day was something to endure. I still have hard days. I still have bad weeks. But I have something now that I didn't have then. I have my mornings. Those quiet, intentional, imperfect, beautiful mornings that belong to me. And if you take one thing from everything I've shared today, let it be this. You don't have to wait until life gets easier to start taking care of yourself. You can start tomorrow morning with just one small thing. That's enough. That has always been enough. Thank you for listening.